Dean Gilligan, the convocation has gathered.
Let it rip. Well, good morning, everyone. Please be seated. As Dean of the McCombs School of Business, it is my honor and privilege to welcome the families and friends of our December 2011 graduating class. I know this is early on a Sunday morning, but this is not church, this is celebration. Clap whenever you feel led, all right? This is a momentous day in the lives of our graduates. When you first arrived at UT, you were eager, energetic, intelligent students with hopes of earning a first-rate business education and launching a bright future. We had high hopes for you. I am pleased to say that you've exceeded our expectations in every way. We are very proud of you and delighted to have you carry forth the reputation of the business school into the world. You are the reason we are here as teachers, staff, and administrators, to develop new ideas to share with you, to teach, mentor, challenge, and encourage you, and to participate with the university in its core purpose of transforming your lives for the benefit of society. We expect great things from you. Now I would like to introduce our Commencement Marshals. Dr. Carolyn Bartell, an Associate Professor in the Department of Management. Carolyn, thank you very much. And Herb Miller, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Marketing. Thank you, Herb. This year's student speaker is Jennifer Broker, an outstanding student graduating with degrees in Business Honors, Marketing, and Plan 2. Jennifer has been involved in many campus activities. She was a member of the Undergraduate Business Council for 4 years and ultimately served as on the executive board as its administrative director. Jennifer also worked in the McCombs Undergraduate Program Office since her sophomore year. While working for UT, she demonstrated a strong work ethic and built many relationships with faculty and staff. Even in her Plan 2 curriculum, Jennifer lets her passion for marketing shine through. Her undergraduate thesis project will research the relationship between consumers and brands. After graduation, Jennifer begins her career at PepsiCo Frito-Lay in Dallas as a marketing analyst. Here to deliver a message on behalf of the graduating class is Jennifer Broker.
As graduation started getting closer, as I'm sure many of you experienced, I started asking myself some really big questions. Where am I going? What do I want? Will my new cable provider carry the Longhorn network? In all seriousness, this big change in life did lead to a very big question. Where does change come from, and who influences change? Well, I started looking at some big changes in history to see what I could find. Perhaps one of the biggest changes in scientific thought was in fact originated not by a scholarly professor or a researcher in a lab coat, but rather by a patent clerk. As he formed his groundbreaking theories on relativity, which later shaped science and the world, Albert Einstein was simultaneously writing rejection letters for patent requests. He changed the world from behind a desk, not in a prestigious university or a fancy lab. He may have been a lowly clerk, but Albert Einstein never settled. So what do these Wikipedia facts have to do with you, graduating class of December 2011? Well, I'm here to tell you that you too can change the world. History has a way of magnifying inventors and achievers into superheroes. We study the famous men and women who have shaped the world as we know it, and somewhere along the way, we put these people on a pedestal, filing them into a seemingly unattainable level of achievement. But the truth is, these people are actually just people. Here is some news they left out of the history book. Albert Einstein didn't speak until he was 3. When he graduated from college, sitting where you're sitting right now, he struggled to find work and ended up taking that job as a clerk. So you see, the man who we idolize was not always the Einstein we know him to be. Imagine a Nobel Prize winning physicist completely reshaping scientific thought, and he could not even get a job teaching physics. As we idolize Einstein and others, we get this impression that they were bound to succeed. They're in a special group of people who can change the world, but we are not in this group with these idols. We are just students graduating from the McCombs School of Business, right? Well, I'm here to tell you this much. That's a head start on some of the people who have gone on to change the world. Gates, Dell, Zuckerberg, we all know their names and their stories, yet they did not even make it to where you're sitting here today. This may sound idealistic, but the only thing you need to change the world is the belief that you can make a difference. What do all of our idols have in common? They had the belief that they could influence and the perseverance to see it through. They had a thirst for knowledge and success and never gave up on their goals. This persistence set them apart, not their genetics, although it wouldn't hurt to be a genius. You are all already successful, perhaps more successful even than many of the heroes of our history at our age. And now, as we walk across this stage and into the next stage of our lives, we have a broad horizon of opportunity waiting ahead. It is easy to accept the status quo, but I hope you will never lose the sense of urgency and of continual learning. It is never too late to do something new. I hope to see your names in the news, your success broadcast to the world. And the great part is, you don't have to already know what you will be successful doing. Since you were young, people have been asking us, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I didn't know then, and I honestly still don't know. I'd like to think I'm not quite grown up yet. I know what I'll be doing immediately after college, but who knows after that? Maybe if we're lucky, we'll never quite grow up. We can't have it all figured out when we're 8, and especially even when we're 23. Most of this people in this room will be starting their careers with some amazing companies within the next year. Within the next 5 years, the majority of you will have moved on to your second or even third job. We are walking into a world of challenges, but those challenges will force us to create new solutions. We have so much to learn, so much to contribute, and so much to grow. What new ideas, inventions, and world-changing concepts will come from our generation? And who in this room will be the leaders of those changes? And perhaps Einstein was a bad example, because it doesn't take a genius to come up with these new ideas. It just takes a little thinking outside the box. Look at the evolution of communication in the past 100 years. From letters and telegraphs to email and video chats, great leaps have been made, and they were made by people just like you. Although we may not all grow to be Nobel Prize-winning physicists, but who likes physics anyway? We're all capable of making a difference. We all have the tools, the knowledge, and that drive to change ourselves and the fields in which we work, whatever they may be. If you're looking for a job, or if you already have one, the message stays the same. Always be looking to try something new. It may take us 20 tries or even 100, but eventually we will find something we are truly passionate about, and along the way we will continue to learn about the world and about ourselves. You don't have to know where you're going to end up somewhere amazing. You just have to keep trying, stand your ground, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Our parents, our professors, and the university staff have all seen something in us along the way. They have nourished us to grow into the individuals we are sitting here today, graduating from one of the most prestigious business programs in the nation. The biggest thanks we could show to these people who have supported us entirely is to go on and live in excitement and passion, to influence change in our communities and the world. We can and we will do amazing things thanks to the people here today, our parents, professors, and our peers. No matter where we are in life, we should always keep one thing in our minds. Keep moving forward, keep believing, and never settle. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. This year's faculty speaker is Elota Patton, a senior lecturer in the Department of Information Risk and Operations Management. She received her BA in Speech and English from the University of Arkansas, a Master's of Fine Arts in Theater from the University of Texas, and a Master's of Education in Counseling from Texas State University. She also is a licensed professional counselor. She began teaching at McCombs in 1991 and has taught courses in business communications and information technology management. She served for 6 years as the chair of the MIS Steering Committee and has been commended for her service to the MIS BBA program on many occasions. She was named to the McCombs BBA Faculty Honor Roll in multiple semesters, was chosen as a UT Professor of the Month by the Senate of College Councils, and received the Texas Exes Teaching Excellence Award. Here to address our graduates is Eloda Patton.
Okay, I can't help myself. I'm a teacher, so I want audience participation. So I would like a show of hands. How many of you, almost graduates, want to be successful and happy in your lives? Yes, okay, great. And I would like to hear some applause from the audience. How many of you, family and friends out there who have supported children and grandchildren, nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters, cousins, aunts and uncles and friends, how many of you would like these students to be successful and happy in their lives? Yes, absolutely. You hear that? That is the sound of the love and support that got you here where you are today. I'm really honored to be up here, to be part of the wind in your sails. And even after 18 years, I'm honored to be a part of the McCombs School of Business faculty, a group that loves to teach. And why do we love to teach? We love to teach because we love to learn. We have a passion to learn. Here's an example. Tom Shively, he's a statistician, and he was the chair of my department for a number of years, used to on Fridays when he was serving as the chair, at the end of the day say, "Oh, I'm so excited. Tomorrow is Saturday. I get to spend all day doing statistics." Lecturers and researchers, we all have this in common. A passion to share what we learn with other people. So I thought I would talk today about the relationship between learning and the adventure on which you are embarking. You began the adventure a while back when you took the plunge and came to the University of Texas. So many of you have enriched the classes of teachers here. Your contributions have made the McCombs School of Business a better place. But remember your first class? Were you nervous? Did you know where the room was? Did you know anyone? Were you afraid you wouldn't fit in? But you took the plunge. You moved from Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Brownsville, Victoria, Dime Box, El Paso, or outside Texas. You moved into a bigger world. So when you entered that first classroom, were your palms a little sweaty? Was your heart rate a little high? A colleague of mine, Clint Tuttle, told me that his senior manager at Accenture used to say, "I love my job as long as my palms stay a little sweaty." He knew that it was the challenge that got him out of bed in the morning, every day, ready to enter the fray. He knew that when the challenge faded away, his interest and passion would fade too. So guess what? Your palms are about to get sweaty again. I want to talk today about sweaty palms and learning. And the only way I can talk about that authentically is to tell a little bit of my story. I'm an Army brat. My family moved every 2 to 3 years to another place, from Salzburg, Austria to Colorado to Niagara Falls, New York to Alabama to Honolulu, Hawaii, where I went to high school. And when I was in high school, I lived in a predominantly Japanese-American neighborhood. And so, I'd been in school a few weeks, and do any of you know the term haole? Anybody know the term haole? Okay, haole means white rat, and depending on how you say it, it can be derogatory or it can just be stating a fact. I was the only haole in my homeroom. And so one day the teacher had to step out for an hour and we were left to mind our own business, and people started folding paper. And so I started folding paper too. And I made one of those little paper fortune teller things, you know those things? And I looked around the room, and everybody around me was making origami frogs and origami swans with wings that flew. And I realized, okay, I'm in a new place again, and there are new rules. There were new rules every time. So, every time you start somewhere new, there are going to be new rules. Learn the rules, learn them fast. It will really help you get along. And you might have heard in my intro that I have a Master's of Fine Arts in Theater, and I doubt you wondered because you've occupied with other things today, but in case you did wonder, how is this woman with a Master's of Fine Arts in Theater teaching at the McCombs School of Business? Well, directors learn to put together incredibly diverse teams to carry out complex tasks and processes that have to work together seamlessly in order for a major project to succeed. And I learned to do that over and over. Once I graduated, I did it all. I built costumes, I acted, I directed, I taught acting for many years. I worked in a box office. I built scenery at a place called Houston Stage Equipment. And speaking of learning, my first day at work there, I learned more profanity in that one day than I'd ever learned in my entire life. In fact, I was the first woman to get a union card in the scene shop. So I learned every aspect of production in theater, which led me to being offered my first job as a theater manager at a place called Center Stage. Now, quick side note here, because I can't resist bringing a little research in. There's a guy named Carl Weick who used to teach here, who says that wisdom means knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know, because knowledge and ignorance grow together. And when I got the job at Center Stage, I got the job because I understood theater, I was smart, I was hardworking, I interviewed well. Lucky me. I was offered an incredible opportunity to gain new knowledge because I was so incredibly ignorant. And that's part of the adventure. Let me tell you how ignorant I was. I was hired as general manager of a theater, and I had never done accounting. So I balanced my checkbook. Done accounting? No. But I was really lucky. One of our board members was a senior partner at what was then Pete Marwick Mitchell, one of the big 8, for those of you who remember. And he got a new hire to come over and coach me. And so I learned accounting, OJT, on the job from a McCombs accounting major. And this is like my students. I also supervise the MIS internship class, and I read their journals and hear them say, I got the new internship, I started, and I found out I had to learn PHP, C++, Java, whatever it might be, and I got a book. And I asked the people in the cubes around me, and I talked to my boss, and I studied up on it, and it's a week in, and I'm doing okay. Learn from necessity. You can do it. Also, further evidence of my ignorance at Center Stage was that I took the job as general manager and never asked to look at the balance sheet. So I had no idea that the organization was carrying a crushing level of debt for the size of the organization it was. And this was in 1980. You're not going to believe this. Interest rates were 20%. 20%. So I worked hard. I worked a lot, 80, 90 hours a week. But no matter how hard I worked, I could get the theater to break even, but I couldn't kill the debt. So I had to learn how to leave. I had to learn how to fail. And I know you've heard it before, learning from failure is the opportunity for the biggest learning. But think about your own failures in college. I know that you are not the ones who gave up. You're the ones who did it differently next time. You learned from failure. You're the winner. Be excited. You have many more failures to learn from. I moved from Center Stage to Zachary Scott Theater, where I had 4 different jobs in 11 years. And what did I learn? As publicity director, I learned how to make connections, because in a theater you can't get press coverage unless you have connections. I was the children's theater tour manager, where I learned to treat selling like a board game. Roll the dice, sometimes you move forward, sometimes you go to jail, but you gotta stay in the game. As development director, I learned how to run a political campaign. We did a campaign for arts bond funding that raised $3.5 million and raised another $1 million to match it, to build a new theater. And then they promoted me to executive director in 1986. And 3 months later, the Texas real estate economy crashed to smithereens. So I learned how to manage in a major recession. One of my mentors, Kit Webster, who was the chief financial officer of a big company then and also was the chair of the finance committee on our board of directors, told me later that he gave the theater a 5% chance of survival. By the way, if you don't know it, you can drive by Zachary Scott Theater on Riverside in South Lamar. They're now building another theater 20 years later. So while I was there, the voters approved the bond funds, but we were in a huge recession. So the city council was very reluctant to acquire more debt. Totally understandable. However, they had already sold some of the arts bond funds. And they were just sitting in account because the other arts organization wasn't raising the matching money they needed to actually begin their building project. So I was lobbying like crazy to get them to transfer the bonds to our account. And finally, after months of the financial manager for the city kind of dancing around this issue, I wrote a really hot letter. A hot letter to the head of the finance department, and I copied every member of city council on it. And I went to city council meeting ready for a fight. I was ready to tell them what they were doing wrong. I was ready to do battle, and I was about to blow it. There was there that day the director of Parks and Recreation, and he did this. And I went over to talk to him, and he said 3 words: "Don't embarrass them." And I looked up, and it suddenly, the whole picture shifted in front of my eyes, and I realized they were afraid of what I was going to say. So I had that moment to change my strategy and say, I know you all want this to work. Everyone wants it to work. And here's how it can work. And I walked out with $3.5 million. So, who are you when you're standing in the fire? Can you seize an unexpected opportunity? Can you learn to think in real time? Because that's when things actually happen. That's when strategies that have been purely theoretical turn into action. Find your mentors. There are mentors everywhere, even if it's just for a moment like this, or if it's the people who teach you, Marla Bomarita Crouch, who taught me how to fire people. You can't be a manager without learning how to fire people. Eleanor Jordan, who taught me how to fit in at the McCombs School of Business faculty. Amazing, she hired me. That's another story I'm not going to tell because we don't have time. Prabhadev Konana, whose passion drives me, my friend Sharon Dunn, who mentored me into teaching MIS 301. The younger generation, now I'm working with Katie Gray, who I taught as a freshman, who has brought so much to the class that we teach together. I am learning so much from her, and she's exactly half my age. Aristotle says, all virtue is habit. Many people think that when they are in a crisis, they can do the right thing. But it's what you practice, the habits that you form, that will determine whether you are able to seize the moment. You become great by how you practice every day, not just on the special day. A famous tennis coach said, you've done 10,000 backhands, 10,000 forehands, now you're ready to go out and play the game. Well, you've practiced a lot, and you're definitely more prepared to go out into the world than I was. You already know accounting, but you know more than that. The thing that every one of the people on this stage wanted to instill in you is a practice. The practice of learning how to learn. You can be proud. You're part of an amazing group from a top business school, and you are all more than your degrees. And this is a really exciting thought to me. You don't know yet how much more than your degrees you are. But the future is going to let you know. As I'm sure you know, a study from the Bureau of Labor Statistics says that people average 11 jobs between the ages of 18 to 44. That's a new job every 2.3 years. What does this mean for you? It means you are starting out on a big adventure. You will frequently not know what to do next, but you have the opportunity of ignorance. You have the opportunity to learn. You were seniors, top of the heap. You've had all the courses, you know the professors, and now you're about to be beginners again. You are McCombs School of Business students, and in a few minutes, you're going to be McCombs School of Business alums. Remember, if you climb a mountain, expect to get out of breath. You're going to fail, you're going to succeed, you're going to be promoted, you're going to face new challenges, and you're going to get sweaty palms. And I'm here to tell you, when you keep learning, it's fun. So feel the fear and do it anyway. Accept the adventure.
Thank you, Elota. This year's keynote address will be given by Scott Ingram. Scott is the co-owner of Zuma Capital, an Austin-based company he developed with his California-based business partner of 27 years. His business career has spanned 35 years, including 11 years in Houston, followed by a 19-year stint in Los Angeles, and has been highlighted by 3 entrepreneurial startup companies he founded or co-founded. In 1999, he co-founded Rent.com, the nation's #1 ranked apartment listing website and the largest producer of apartment leasing transactions in the United States. Prior to Rent.com, Scott was the president and CEO of Oasis Residential, an apartment real estate investment trust, and also served as president and managing director of Post Oak Partners, a private real estate finance firm. Before becoming an entrepreneur, Scott worked for more than 5 years in real estate finance, specializing in income property lending and debt and equity financing for a life insurance company and mortgage banking company, both wholly owned by Illinois Central Industries. Scott graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a BBA in finance in May of 1976 and bleeds burnt orange. Please welcome Scott Ingram.
Thank you very much, Dean Gilligan. It's great to be here today. Distinguished faculty, proud parents and family members, and especially you students, I want to congratulate you on earning your degree from the reputable McCombs School of Business at the legendary University of Texas. How sweet it is. I want to welcome you to the Burnt Orange Nation. You are now forever branded a Longhorn. Pretty cool. And I'm confident in 34 years, when you're about my age, you'll be even prouder of that distinction. I love the University of Texas, and as Dean Gilligan said, I do bleed burnt orange. My parents both graduated from the university after meeting here about 60 years ago, and they're in the audience today. Hi, Mom and Dad. They brainwashed me from birth. I never had a chance. They pretty much had me at hook 'em. My father and brother were outstanding Longhorn football players here, and my sister and eldest son are also graduates of the university. Texas is our family school. I have to admit, the loss to Baylor yesterday is still stinging this morning, but I also still have a bounce in my step from sending 85,000 Aggies home miserable on Thanksgiving night. As the father of 5, I can imagine how proud your parents are today. They know how hard it was to get accepted into UT, and especially this world-class business school. They are proud of your talent, hard work, and above all, the perseverance that it took to get here. I know you're going to thank them today, not just for the money and the financial support, but for the love and guidance that made this day possible. You are truly distinguished students who deserve to celebrate your accomplishment. But I thought my 15 minutes with you today could best be spent offering you a little career advice. Your BBA has catapulted you into a position of unlimited possibility and opportunity. But note that I said possibility and opportunity, not certainty nor guarantee. I'll start with some blunt advice. If your degree has triggered any sense of entitlement or expectation in you, do yourself a favor and hit the delete button now. And that even goes for you if you happen to be graduating summa cum laude with an offer from Goldman Sachs in New York. I'm not recommending you lower your ambition, not a bit. Ambition is good. But take it from the legendary Mark Twain, who said, "Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. After all, it was here first." Now, your BBA degree from UT reveals that you have the intellectual capacity to grasp complex subjects: accounting, finance, economics, statistics, marketing, etc. But what immediate demand for your services will that expertise bring you in today's cold, cruel marketplace? Lo siento, amigos. Solamente un poquito. Only a little. Okay, I admit you accounting grads are a lucky exception. And I know many of you are starting to see the job market improve slightly, and that's a wonderful thing. While it may be a cliche, though, your BBA, even from this world-class university, is but a strong passport into the business world. Take it again from Mark Twain, who said, "I have never let schooling interfere with my education." Many employers share Twain's view. You may have had great schooling, but they will wonder, if I hire this kid, will he or she be accretive to my earnings per share? Businesses that risk expense dollars hiring in today's world crave experience. Heard anything about 9% unemployment, 18% underemployment? Okay, I know unemployment went down to 8.6, but let's not pop open the champagne bottle. I think you have. Many older, experienced executives are so desperate for jobs that they're willing to take virtually entry-level pay today. Life ain't fair. I know. If you can accept that, you're way ahead. Now, I empathize when it comes to graduating in a tough economy. When I graduated back in the Stone Age in 1976, hiring was slow. The economy was just coming out of a recession you read about in business school, the 73-45 recession. It was the Vietnam Watergate era. Inflation was rampant. The prime rate had just soared above 12%, an unheard of level. Unemployment was high. And this is an important thing to remember. The Soviet Union was a global menace that threatened freedom and free markets all across this country. Not what we have in today's world. Times were as dreary as the weather outside today. In fact, times were so dreary that disco music was popular. And I think the faculty would agree with me on that. They got even drearier for me when I basically whiffed on my first 8 interviews with financial institutions. But I caught a lucky break with a fine gentleman in Houston who ran the investment department of a life insurance company. He knew I wasn't qualified, even with my BBA in finance, but he liked my attitude, and we negotiated a 90-day trial run. He was crystal clear. "Scott, if you can't handle the job, you're out. No hard feelings." I think I took the lowest paying job of all of my classmates. It was pretty much a survival wage. I had to move in with my aunt and uncle in Houston. I couldn't afford apartment rent. But I was in the building. I now had a chance to learn institutional finance and income property real estate lending and grab that first rung on the ladder of success. As a result of my lucky break, my entire business career, I've always advised young graduates from college, First, find a way to get in the building, the right building for you. I have a friend from Southern California about my age who deployed an even more extreme version of my strategy. He landed a job in real estate investment banking in San Francisco by offering to work for free for 6 months. They said no the first couple of times. They finally relented. It was a long 6 months. He said he wore the same suit every day. But 32 years later, get this, he's CEO of the company, the same company, and a very wealthy dude. He would agree with me. First, get in the building. Good things can then happen. Then after that, hunker down and learn. Speaking of learning, Will Rogers said it best. A man only learns in 2 ways. 1, by reading, and 2, by association with smarter people. So when you land a job, seek out and find a mentor. You learn best by doing. You learn business best by doing, and especially if you can observe a mentor in action. Become a sponge. When soaking up knowledge in your new job, don't just look to superiors. Look to coworkers too. I'll give you an example. In my very first job at age 22, I spent many long days staying late and interrogating the elder secretaries who would document the finance transactions coming out of our department. Though they lacked college degrees, they were very smart ladies and excellent teachers, especially of the details. While they were initially skeptical of this 22-year-old greenhorn, I eventually earned their respect. Then the word started to spread around the office. The kid's okay. He can do the job. Over the years, I've hired several executives on this same format. Below market, they may have lacked experience, yet they were very long in attitude. They were very determined to succeed. And those same people, many of them later evolved into superstars. The old Horatio Alger success story in America is alive and well today as much as ever. Humility combined with a fierce determination to succeed is one heck of a potent combination. Plato said it perfectly 2,400 years ago. Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay, some of you here may cringe a bit with my next tip, which was some sage old advice that was passed down to me over the years. When you're in on-the-job training, and that's what business is, there will be times when you feel like you're in over your head. Well, when it happens, stay poised. Never let them see you sweat. And sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Now, don't take that literally. Integrity is paramount. If you're confused, don't be afraid to ask questions and seek help. But stay cool. And if you act like you know what you're doing, a funny thing will happen. You soon will. Once you deliver results, you will have fun watching your paycheck zoom. Okay, it's time to dispel a myth. You know the old cliche, you'll never use much of what you learn in college. False. Especially if you're a business student, like you fortunate students are. For example, you know all those net present values, internal rates of return, weighted average cost of capital, all the P&L statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, all the things you dissected and analyzed and fell asleep studying at night. Got news for you. You're going to use it all. Maybe not day one, but you will eventually use it all. You'll advantage from most everything you learned here at McCombs. This will dawn on you one day, years from now, and you'll smile and be even more grateful then than you are today for your time here. Now, many of you will prefer the challenge of big business or the corporate world, like I did my first 6 years out of UT. Some of you will gravitate towards young companies. More young Americans than ever are choosing to work for startup firms. Dean Gilligan and the leadership team at McCombs really get this. They've done a superb job encouraging entrepreneurial thinking with their Herb Kelleher Center, Venture Labs, and the Austin Incubator, among other endeavors. I've had the privilege of working with the latter two, and I can say they're absolutely outstanding. I find this incredibly exciting because it bodes well for America's future job prosperity and job creation. Jennifer mentioned Bill Gates, Michael Dell, and Mark Zuckerberg. I'll add the great Steve Jobs, the late and great Steve Jobs, to the list. Those four gentlemen all started up their companies without prior business experience. Incredible. And they didn't even complete college. Even more incredible. But I think you know, they are the hyper-rare exception, not the rule. The vast majority of successful entrepreneurs, and this is a fact, are well-educated like you. They're often MBAs, and sometimes they're PhDs. They've amassed significant experience in the work world prior to taking the entrepreneurial plunge. So as you get out of college, exercise patience. Take the time to learn some core business skills first. You'll know when and if it's time to take the plunge into entrepreneurial waters. When I started my first company, I was 1 month shy of age 28. I'll be honest, I was so focused on that company, I had no idea that I was forking off with my career into what people now call a serial entrepreneur, where over the next 25 years, until I was 52, I would successively start up 3 companies back to back to back. I'm incredibly proud that all 3 companies succeeded, despite many down days and a couple of near-death experiences. The truth is, you are going to experience difficult times in your business career. Unavoidable. Whether you go the entrepreneurial route or not. When bad times hit, remember the brilliant words of the theologian Robert Schuller, who said, "Tough times never last, tough people do." I also relish the genius and humor of the great Winston Churchill. He said, "If you're going through hell, keep going." Becoming an entrepreneur can be lucrative. I personally made more money than I ever planned on or dreamed of. But to be frank, very frank, personal wealth was not my primary motivation. Serving customers and generating strong financial returns for my investors was paramount. You know what I loved about startup companies? Thomas Edison, the ultimate startup dude, said it best. "Hell, there are no rules here. We're trying to actually accomplish something." I love the challenge, creativity, and collaboration with my teammates. I thrived on how fast we could make decisions. No politics, no bureaucracy, just get things done. At my third startup, an internet company called Rent.com, it was so much fun creating a business model on the internet that had never been done before and that many venture capitalists and others, skeptics, said would never work. I used to joke with my young associates who were in their 20s, maybe some in their early 30s out in Los Angeles, where we had this company. I said, you know, working for a successful startup is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. They didn't argue. The truth is, they couldn't wait to get to work each morning. And that was partly because they owned equity in the business and they felt vested in the business model. They had an intellectual curiosity that they wanted to see the business model that we had created succeed. My longtime business partner of 27 years and I encouraged our associates to be daring and innovative, yet smart and practical. We had a company mantra. If we make a mistake, let's make it being aggressive, serving our customers. We had a value system at all three of our companies. Customers first, shareholders second, employees third. By subordinating ourselves to our customers and shareholders, we employees would prosper too, and we did, big time. It was one of the great thrills of my life to see my coworkers cash in big when we sold Rent.com to eBay in 2005. Now, I know that many of you are apprehensive about leaving college and going to work. I certainly was 34 years ago. I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. I had a vague interest in finance. That was about it. You can't possibly visualize or plan your entire career today, so don't even try. Instead, follow the advice of the great financier J.P. Morgan, who about 100 years ago said, "Go as far as you can see. When you get there, you will see even farther." I want to close my remarks by welcoming you once again to one of the greatest clubs on earth. Congratulations on earning your degree from the legendary University of Texas and its prestigious McCombs School of Business. Having lived and worked in California for 19 of my 35-year business career, and having run a public company on Wall Street and spent a lot of time in New York and Boston, I can assure you of this: your diploma will travel extremely well across this great nation. The University of Texas and McCombs are highly, highly respected. So remember, first, get in the building. Learn. Then make the Longhorn Nation proud. You can be sure we will be watching. The eyes of Texas are upon you. Hook 'em.
Thank you, Scott. Paula Murray is the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs. She's a professor in the Department of Business, Government, and Society. Dean Murray is here to present this year's degree candidates.
Good morning. It's now time to recognize individually the members of the graduating class of the McCombs School of Business for December 2011. I would like to bring your attention the cords and medallions some of the students will be wearing. The burnt orange and white cords are representative of students who have been recognized as college scholars, and students wearing medallions have been recognized as distinguished college scholars. These honors are a reflection of a cumulative academic achievement, including a high grade point average as well as the rigor of their coursework. These honors are bestowed each spring in our annual Honor Day ceremony. Students wearing blue and green cords have added a global dimension to their business education by studying abroad on a McCombs BBA International Exchange Program. Students wearing red and gold cords are graduates of the Business Honors Program, and then students wearing pewter medallions are graduates of the McCombs Leadership Program. Please note that the students are seated by major, but they will not be in alphabetical order so they can all sit with their friends. Will the candidates please stand as directed and proceed to the left onto the stage? Dean Gilligan will make a presentation to each of you, assisted by Dean Arthur Allard, the Assistant Dean for the undergraduate program. After you cross the stage, return to your seat and remain there until everyone has been recognized and the ceremony concluded. With the students in accounting and the Masters in Professional Accounting program, please proceed to the stage one row at a time. Here to recognize these degree candidates is Dr. Stuart Singer, a lecturer in the Department of Accounting.
Matthew Brockman. Christopher Solly. Victor Samaron. Cristina Alonso. Charlene Willis. Stacy Godorsey. Carly Stafford. Liz No. Benjamin Melingaggio. Calixto Balderas. Do you want the Greer? William Greer Chestnut III. Want the Daniel? Matthew Daniel Mahoney. Want the Michelle? Amy Michelle Kelm. Sarah Elizabeth Alvoit. Anna Cecilia Jarvis. Catherine Sarah Cantlon. William. Maxwell William Schill. Braun Brown. James Patrick Braun. Catherine. Holly Catherine Roach. Nicholas Lynn Kelly. Mouls. You want the Michael? Connor Michael Mouls. Want the Ryan? Christopher Tom. Molly Meng Sun. Dorothy Hu. Sang-hee Lee. And that's it.
Would the students in the Business Honors Program please proceed to the stage? Professor Robert Prentice is here today to recognize these degree candidates. Dr. Prentice is a professor and director of the Business Honors Program.
Jennifer Broker. Dia Shuti Sika. Robert Travis Hicks, the second. Tiffany Lee Ting Chow. Leslie Michelle Elder. Mylin Tran. Victoria Taylor Tompkins. Kinsey Elise Baker. Michelle Arbov. Mark Allen Reedmiller.
Would the students in the finance department please proceed to the stage? Will Way, a lecturer in the Department of Finance, is here to recognize these degree candidates.
Tao Nguyen. Hector Velez. Carl Wong. Michael Steves Powers. Kevin T. Pham. Thomas Ian Hughes. Amy Page Johnson. Caitlin Jessica Steimer. Russell Martin Godfrey. Gabriel Cantu. Alan Walter Goldstein. Ariel Michelle Webb. Courtney Lynn Keys. Danielle Jordan Hope. Daniel Blake Davis. Travis James Vowles. Major Latin. Brittany Anitris Gantz. Kiana Latrice Williams. Brittany Latoya McCoy. Tanya Renee Hendricks. Ashley Yvonne Knox. Felicia Wayan Tsao. Jesus Hernandez. Philip Alcala. Maximilian S. Hand. Hunter Ross Lentz. Joshua Earl Simmons. Stefan Christopher Knipp. Benjamin Michael Harrison. Preston Ryan Heckathorn. Akil Momin. Ifran Baidani. Sherwin B. Gilani. Jeffrey Austin Eggleston. Lisa Yvette Gonzalez. Emily R. Molina. Yashar Riza Paraste. Kanal Sagal. Mark Reborg Wise. Jovan Illich. Jared Matthew Miller. Bradley William Asher. Sterling Benjamin Tardy. Andres Rene Villegas. Chad Ian Thiessen. Andrew Joseph Lee. Qasser Kareem Ali. Rebecca Leanne Jeffries. Victoria Elise Stephen. Chelsea Louise Hill.
Would the management majors please proceed to the stage? Dr. Christy Loescher, a senior lecturer in the Department of Management, is here to recognize those candidates.
Juliana Antonella Biondi. Sophia Chung. Matthew Thomas Hauser. Sarah Michelle Sykes. Simone Jennifer Rowe. Rondria Belaine Richardson. Albert Thomas Martinez. Brooke Angelina Smith. Giselle Garcia. Abigail Lynn Bone. Joshua Nathaniel Teal. Sylvia Evelyn Otto. Angela K. Daniel. Good to see you. Jan Summer Blackshear. Tae Hun Ro.
Would the Management Information System majors please proceed to the stage? Rick Byers, a distinguished senior lecturer in the Department of Information, Risk, and Operations Management, is here to present these degree candidates.
Danny Issei Cruz. Jose Carlos Gonzalez Chapa. Marcela Regina Murga. William Alexander Rojas. Dimitri Schwartz. Nida Ali. Nimroz Nizar Ali. Julie Marie Juranic. Alex Yansong Chen. Joseph Rennemeyer. Chloe Elise Kuhn. Harry Liu. Michael David Wiggins. Emily Ann Kirkpatrick. Joyce Young Mei Yi. Daniel Cole Middleton. Keegan Joseph Landolt. Robert Eldon Edge.
Would the engineering route to business and supply chain management majors please proceed to the stage? Dr. Udarayan Bachi, a professor in the Department of Information, Risk, and Operations Management, will recognize these candidates.
Harden Nuri Kim. Wesley James Yosker. Ashley Lovett Upshaw Phillips. Melissa Ann Christensen. Erubiel H. Garcia. Adil Sarfani. Arturo N. Hinahan Jr. Elizabeth Fawn. Nestor Martinez. Nicholas Campa. Jasmine Elise Davison.
Would the international business and marketing majors please proceed to the stage? Dr. Linda Gerber, a senior lecturer in the Department of Marketing, will recognize these degree candidates.
Kelsey Rose Parison. Francesca Genevieve Joe. Alexis Simon Landa. David Andrew Ward. Ariane Mars Snyder. Joanna Rachel Tyler. Mai Doe. Amanda R. Sharp. Richard A. Walls. Claire Renee Moses. Elizabeth Carol Roberts. Audrey Young Hao Yang. John G. Terada. Nathan Edward Chang. Kenny Y. Kwan. Edward Joseph Alaniz. Jorge Alberto Martinez Zambrano. Roderick Jean Reinhardt. Ryan Michael Ambler. Rahim Lakhani. Sharina Sunesura. Brittany Shum.
Well, again, congratulations, graduates, to you all. Okay, graduates, turnabout's fair play. Now it's time to recognize as a group those who've supported you throughout the years. Will you please stand and congratulate your family and friends? Now here to tell you about our alumni network is Mary Ann Maltz, Senior Director of Development for the McCombs School of Business.
Congratulations again. Welcome to the most powerful alumni network in the world. As alumni of the University of Texas at Austin and the McCombs School of Business, you are now connected to more than 87,000 other alums in the world. To help keep you connected to your alma mater, Dean Gilligan has given each of you a one-year membership to the Texas X's. I hope you will enjoy your membership over the next year and get involved with a Texas X's group wherever you are in the world. I also hope you become involved in the McCombs Alumni Network. The network connects all 87,000 McCombs alumni to each other and to the school, enhances the student experience through your interaction with alumni, and provides lifelong learning opportunities. Congratulations once again, and welcome to the McCombs Alumni Network.
Thanks, Mary Ann. I know that some of you are eager to see your diplomas. They will be mailed to you in January, I promise. To close our ceremony, it is traditional that we join our new graduates in singing The Eyes of Texas. After we sing, please remain standing while the faculty marches out. Graduates, you may then exit to Red River Street. The Erwin Center ushers will direct you. Family and friends of our graduates, please meet your graduate on the north side of the Erwin Center by the flagpoles. And now, Kelsey Parison, a talented student graduating with a BBA in marketing and a BA in music, will lead us in the singing of The Eyes of Texas. During her time at UT, Kelsey has served in several officer positions in the Longhorns for Christ student organization and is a member of the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society. She has performed in numerous student operas and choral works and gave a solo recital in the spring of 2011, from which she received her performance certification. Despite her classical training, Kelsey enjoys performing in a wide range of popular genres, including singing the Star-Spangled Banner at Texas Stars hockey matches. Though she is from just outside of Washington, D.C., Kelsey considers herself a Longhorn through and through and cannot be happier that she decided to attend UT. Here to lead us in The Eyes of Texas is Kelsey Parison.